How's it going, guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the 1997 F1 career mode. And the team we are driving for, if you can tell from that angle, is from your votes from the comments in our last episode, which was the introduction to the series. It was a resounding vote, this one. The team we are driving for is Minardi. A lot of you, around about 80% of you, voted for Minardi, which I was quite surprised, really. I was expecting Stewart for the looks of the car. It's one of the best looking cars that I've seen. But it's down to you guys, and you guys wanted me to drive Minardi. And for this race, I'm going to do different things to the series to see what we can do to make it more challenging. So this first race, I wanted to see what our car is like with a setup. So I'm just using a custom setup on here just to see what my settings on F1 2014 were when I was here with like the real life 2014 cars, to compare with these 1997 cars as well. But we're in Australia for the first round of the championship, as it did host it in 1997. But we're going to go straight into qualifying right now, and we're going to be starting the second lap, as this was our first lap, and it wasn't the best of laps, as John Alesi sets the fastest time of 33.2. We cross the line and it's a 34.1, which puts us up to 5th place, which I was quite happy with, really. I thought that was going to be the qualifying, and I thought, oh, okay. With the pace of the Minardi not being that great in the corners, which I was pretty concerned about going to this race, because this track is a lot of downforce related area on there. But we're taking it nice and smoothly through this little section here, which I was pretty happy with, really, as Heintal Frentzen now goes quickest with a 31.5, which is ridiculously quick. In the Williams, he's not in the Jordan yet, that's next season on there. And we're only 2 tenths off him in the first sector, so I was pretty happy with that. That I was only that far off on there, as our teammate was 10th, but he's been overtaken by Mika Saulo. I believe he's in the Sauber in this career mode, as we've got Laurini, I think, in front of us in 8th on there, as we're going to continue now on the back straight towards the start of the last sector, which I absolutely hate on this game. But we're only a 7/1000 of a second, but we just brake a bit too late for the chicane. Put a lot of steering angle, and that's going to cost us a lot of time here, which is really, really annoying, really. As we're going to brake now into the last sector, where the AI are ridiculously quick, as some of you may know from the 2014 games. So we're taking it nice and smoothly now towards the penultimate corner. We're going to be braking into first gear. Never thought I'd say that on this game. And we're going to take a nice short shift now into third gear, try and hook it around the outside, and we do so. Down the straight we go. It won't be pole, sadly, but we're going to see where we're going to finish, as we're going to get a 1:32.8, which puts us provisionally in second place, but this was like halfway through the session, so we weren't going to get enough time on there, and that was the end of our session. As you can see, we're in the top 10 in 9th place, which I was very shocked, really, to see the Minardi has pace on there with the speed down the straights, as Heintal Frentzen did get pole position from Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher, so it's a Williams 1-2, which is kind of obvious, with the Williams in real life at that season winning the championship. So this was going to be a tough season for us, and we'll see how it goes, really, as we go into the race now for the Australian Grand Prix, as we are building it up now for our first race, to get back into our car for the race. And it is going to be 25% races, as I said, and with the big races like Monaco, Silverstone, and etc., Spa, will be 50% and will be raced live on Twitch. So you need to make sure to head over to my Twitch channel. It is in the description below of this video as well. And to follow on Twitter as well, so you know when I'll be streaming as well these races. But we're going to go straight out onto the track now. No need to look at tyre strategies and all that, because the tyres are basically the same around here, unless obviously it's the wet or intermediate. So as our Jackman pulls us down, our engineer in front of us here will pull us out of the car now, as we are away from the pits. And it's now time for the first race of the 1997 career mode in the Minardi. It is, as I said, a Williams lockout on the front row, with Frentzen taking over from Jacques Villeneuve. We're in 9th, and our teammate Katayama is down in 18th, which is not what I want. Anyway, the revs are building up now. We're getting ready for the start of the first race of the 1997 career mode. The lights are out, and away we go for our first race, and we get a bit of a poor start off the line. Short shifting up to second was a bit of a bad idea, and we lose out to Giancarlo Fisichella, not Fizzy if anyone wants to know, on there. But we're going to try and go on the outside with a few people, and I think that's John Alesi going past us as well, Down the inside, it went to turn 1 to take 10th place on there, but we're going to go now towards turn 3, which is going to be very interesting with the AI being really slow. As you can see, they're all packing up behind each other, and we're going to go around the outside of, I believe, Fisichella, and we're up to 10th place there. And we're going to go round the outside of Jean Alesi as well, but he's holding it nicely there and defends brilliantly and holds on to 9th place with Fisichella in that Jordan all over the back of us there, as we're going to have to really push now and see how this Minardi does on race fuel, as it's going to be very tricky this, as the Minardi, as I've mentioned, is one of the slowest cars on there. So we're going to see if this setup gives us a bit of advantage, but if it does give us too much, I'm going to go back to baseline for this. So this was a bit of a test really to see how the car handles and getting grips with it, because this was only the 3rd race of driving the Minardi, as I did some testing beforehand just to get a feel for the car, change some wheel settings as well to get it really familiarised. As you can see, we're getting a lot of oversteer, which pushed us wide, and Fisichella now, we're going to give him the space. He's on the inside there, as you can see, just in the mirrors, but has to back out of it for this next corner, and we will maintain 10th place on there. But the leaders are pulling off already, as Frensen's already off on his merry ways, with Villeneuve, I think, still in 2nd place, as we've got the 2 Benettons ahead of us, still in 8th and 9th. I think it's Gerhard Berger is with Jean Alesi, as we've got Olivier Panis now ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella, so it's a great move there from Panis, and up to 11th place, as you can see we're only 2 seconds nearly behind Jean Alesi already. So wasn't really expecting to see how we go with this race and see if they pull away or we get absolutely trained by the cars behind, so we have to wait and see. But nothing really happened really, I'm going to be honest with you. As we're up to lap 5, the gap stayed the same position wise, as we're 4 seconds behind Alesi and we're 3 seconds ahead of Panis. So I was thinking at this point this may be a bit of a dull race for you guys, so I honestly in advance apologise for this, as these are on Legend AI as well. I forgot to mention that as well at the start of the video. But there is a bit of a gap really with pace. As you can see, we've got these guys here, the 9 cars ahead of us, all putting away, and then there's a bit of a gap as well with us in the middle of it, and then the 3rd pack of Panis behind, really struggling really as the race goes on, as you will see later on. But we're going to take this chicane beautifully as we go onto the back straight once again, and we're not that far off actually. Jean Alesi, the pace was pretty consistent around the 4-second mark, so I had to really think really about strategy and see if pitting later will be a good thing, or maybe pitting late, you know, bang on our pit strategy would be very crucial. And we'll have to see really how this goes, as the train there of the leaders is still, as you can see, on there, and I think one of them is actually putting away, so they're not that far off actually. We're not actually really that far on there. I think that's 2nd down to 9th, so bit of a train emerging there as we go on out of the corners. We're going to start lap 6, getting a bit of an oversteer a bit, but nothing too major as we go across the line, as I think Panis is getting a bit under pressure from Giancarlo Fisichella behind. But we're going to go on to lap 6, where it's our scheduled stop, and our tyres, as you can see, are okay, but nothing too major to really be careful about, as we see some people will dive into the pits, I believe, at this time, as the pit window is open. And we have that actually, as we've got a few people in. I think Jean Alesi is in as well, with the leader as well of Heinz-Harald Frentzen actually, I believe, or it could be Michael Schumacher, I'm not really too sure. But we're going to gain a few positions, as obviously we haven't made our pit stop yet, and we're still in with a PB actually of a 33.3, so I was quite really chuffed with that, as we're going to go into turn 1, and it is indeed Schumacher actually who comes out behind us in 6th place. So Schumacher trying to do the undercut on Heinz-Harald Frentzen. We'll have to see if that strategy really works out for him on there. But we're up to 5th, as I've said, and we're really going to be pushing now as we go on to the end nearly of lap 7 on there with Gerhard Berger, 6 seconds up the road with Schumacher 7.7. So I was really happy with that. I'm keeping the pace ready to Michael Schumacher behind, but all the cars ahead of us are pitting. We are going to follow suit really and just follow the strategy of everyone else and make our way into the box, as Schumacher's coming around toward the entry of the pit lane, as Eddie Irvine there is coming out of his box, as we've got a few of the Benetton guys as well with Gerhard Berger. So I had no idea where I'd be coming out, but my main goal was to come out around about 10th place, as the Minardi boys get to work on the car, and it's a good stop as well, 3.7, not too bad for the boys, as we're going to come out with Ralf Schumacher just ahead as he goes off into the distance, with Jean Alesi as well just ahead of there. So we have gained a bit of time on Jean Alesi, as he was the big loser out of the pit stop phase as he's lost the train in front. So on there we've got Nakano as Damon Hill, who is in 11th place now after all the pit stops were made on there. So we're going to drop down up to Rich actually as we were in the lead for the pit stop, just to save some fuel. And we're going to continue now round the track we go, and from there really nothing really happened in terms of the race. As I'm just going to show you a little bit of highlights from what there as we went up there, as we are 5 seconds up on our last lap, but obviously that was our out lap. But you can see the gap was around about 4 seconds to John Lacey, but the gap behind, as you can see from Hill, is 9 seconds. This was the thing I was mentioning earlier in the video, that there are basically two packs emerging. The top 10, as you can see, I'm just slowly drifting away from that first pack, but the second pack is miles behind. For some reason, with this mod, that half the guys are pulling further and further away, which is something I wasn't really thinking about at this point. So we'll have to see how it goes with this as throughout the series, and see if we can get any mods to help with making the cars a bit more realistic and not too far away from them. But as you can see, the gap is now 5 seconds to Jean Lacey, with Ralf Schumacher in 8th, and Hill is just going backwards really, with only a couple of laps to go, with the gap now 11 seconds. So it looks like we're going to be holding on to a point in this first round of the championship, which is pretty good really. Wasn't really expecting a Minardi to get a point, and really emulating Fernando Alonso's Minardi triumph in 2002 as well. But we get a bit of a cheeky corner cut there on the next lap, which was the only one I got, which was quite surprising, because this track for me is the worst for me for corner cutting, as I tend to cut a bit of corners, and we actually went purple in that sector, so apologies for that. But we get an okay line through there, and the gap's 3.8 seconds with only 5 laps to go of this race. But as I said, the gaps didn't improve or differ, apart from Hill's going backwards with now 13 seconds ahead, so we're already 2 seconds quicker than the last lap on Hill. So that was the interesting pack, and as you can see that there is another pack emerging there, with the front two putting away, I think it's 3rd and 2nd. But as I said, nothing really major in this race, so I do apologise once again. And hopefully for the next round in Brazil, I can provide you with some action-packed racing. And with a bit of a jolly sign there, we did get a new PB of a 33.1, which I was quite happy about. We're on the last lap now. Anyway, and Michael Schumacher wins the race, the first round of the championship, with Frentzen making a mistake somewhere, which has actually cost him the win on there. But there's actually quite a big squabble going on there for, I believe it's for 4th place, down to 9th, so wasn't really going to be in that battle, but we're going to come around the final corner and pull off a decent 10th place really, our first race, a point on the board for the Minardi team, which I was quite happy about. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that first race. It wasn't the best, I'm going to be honest, a bit boring, I do apologise. Hopefully I can make the next episode a bit better for you guys to enjoy as well. As I said, it is Brazil for the next round, and I'm not going to bother about the championship standings because it's going to be the same as that on there. But hopefully you did enjoy the first episode. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more of the F1 1997 career mode. But until next time guys, have a fantastic day wherever you're doing, and I shall see you guys for the next episode of this career mode, with the second round, as I said, at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. But until then, have a good day guys, and I shall see you very soon. Until then, see you later guys, take care.